Imagine, just for a moment, being completely trapped in a system of extreme, inescapable conflict.
Right, a situation where you literally have zero good
Yeah,
option.
exactly. Try to put yourself in a situation where every single choice you make, every order you give has immediate, literal life or death consequences for other people.
It's an unimaginable weight.
It really is. And the crushing part isn't just the physical reality of what you're doing. It's this terrifying underlying suspicion that these actions you are being forced into are carrying profound, irreversible spiritual implications for your own soul.
Yeah, that's where the real dread sets in.
Right, you're sitting there, hands tied by duty, asking yourself, how exactly does the universe judge us when we are forced entirely against our will to do the unthinkable?
It is the ultimate moral paralyzer, really. I mean, we all go through life with this comfortable, paved road of morality in our heads.
Oh, for sure. We think we know what good and bad look like.
We absolutely do. But when you are thrust into the extremes of human survival, that paved road just shatters. You find yourself in an absolute swamp of compromised choices.
Yeah.
The abstract concepts of right and wrong are suddenly crushed under the sheer weight of survival, duty, and, well, systemic violence.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are taking a massive stack of source material and extracting the hidden mechanics of the universe that govern those exact, impossible situations.
It's going to be a heavy one, but so fascinating.
It really is. We are looking at this incredibly poignant, almost haunting transcript titled Audio Playback, The Cosmic Compass in the Storm of War.
Such a powerful title.
Right. It is a profound philosophical dialogue between two figures. On one side, we have Soldier Donner, a military commander heavily burdened by the brutal realities of a war he didn't ask for.
And on the other side,
On the other side is Mr. NaturAutor, acting as a spiritual guide who essentially, well, he fundamentally reconstructs how we understand the cosmos.
what's really fascinating here is that the value of this text is that it entirely sidesteps the usual platitudes.
Yeah, no empty comforts here.
Exactly. It doesn't offer those. Instead, it challenges our most deeply ingrained cultural assumptions about cosmic justice. It forces us to look at what actually happens to human consciousness when it is pushed to the absolute breaking point.
So our mission today is to break down those cosmic mechanics. We are moving completely beyond the simple binary concepts of heaven and hell.
We're getting into the physics of it all.
We are. We're going to explore the intricate laws of energy, resonance, and intention that this text proposes. And if you are listening to this on your commute or, while washing dishes, I want to be very clear, do not tune out just because you aren't a military commander.
Oh, absolutely not. The applications are universal.
They really are.
Hmm.
The principles we are unpacking today, how intention matters, how to survive participating in compromised systems, what energetic consequences actually look like, they apply directly to the daily battles, the toxic workplaces, and the complicated family dynamics you navigate every single day.
Because the battlefield in this transcript, it operates on two levels. Yes, it is a literal zone of combat, but it also serves as a metaphorical stress test.
Like a pressure cooker for the soul.
That's a great way to put it. It is the extreme environment used to reveal the baseline physics of how human consciousness interacts with the broader universe.
Right.
The mechanics governing the soldier are the exact same mechanics governing a person dealing with a deeply unethical corporate structure, for instance.
Okay, let's unpack this and get straight into Donner's reality. The transcript opens by painting a picture of his agonizing situation.
And it is agonizing.
It is. Donner is a commander. He has issued orders for missile strikes. He has coordinated counteroffensives and directed gunfire.
And the direct, undeniable result of his orders is that many enemy soldiers have died.
Right, but the crucial defining context of his entire psychological state is a total lack of consent. He states explicitly that he is in a war he fundamentally did not want, carrying out an alleged duty that he cannot fully comprehend or morally align with.
The phrasing in the source text implies a total abdication of soul-level agency. I mean, he is a captive of circumstance.
Yeah, completely trapped.
He is acting out a role he finds utterly abhorrent, yet entirely inescapable given the systemic pressures surrounding him.
Which is terrifying.
The psychological weight of that cognitive dissonance alone is enough to fracture a person's mind.
And he isn't just dealing with the immediate trauma of the violence either. The text reveals that Donner has been trying to find answers.
Right, he's been searching.
Yeah, he mentions that he has been reading books written by, quote, old warriors, and these ancient texts have planted this terrifying seed in his mind.
Oh, this part is brutal.
It is. According to this lore, he says that if you kill many soldiers on the battlefield, you become completely impure. You fall entirely out of sync with the cosmos.
Let's analyze where those ancient texts come from for a second. Donner is reading the codified trauma of past generations.
Right, the people who were there before him.
Exactly.
Right.
Historically, when human beings experience the profound psychological damage of taking life, they desperately try to make sense of the internal devastation they feel.
Yeah, they need a reason for why they feel so awful.
So they feel broken inside, and they project that brokenness outward onto the universe. They codify their own earthly guilt into a rigid cosmic rule.
And the specifics of the myth Donner read are incredibly detailed and honestly terrifying.
They really are.
These old warrior books claim that this cosmic impurity demands a literal balance. The way the universe supposedly achieves this balance is by ensuring the warrior meets a premature death in their current life.
As if the cosmos operates on this strict eye for an eye ledger.
Exactly. But even worse than his own early death, Donner is crippled by the belief that by killing these enemies, he has abruptly stopped those souls from their earthly learning journey.
That's the part that really haunts him.
Yeah, he thinks he hasn't just ended their physical lives. He believes he has actively sabotaged their cosmic progress.
Try to conceptualize the magnitude of that psychological burden. I mean, grappling with the taking of a physical life is heavy enough.
Right. That alone is a lot.
But Donner believes he has committed an eternal cosmic crime. He thinks he has thwarted the spiritual evolution of other beings and that he is now marked for a premature death by an angry universe just to settle the score.
It's paralyzing.
He is entirely paralyzed by the belief that his forced duty has resulted in his eternal damnation.
Let's ground this for the listener for a second. Think about a time you were forced to do something in your job that felt morally gray.
Oh, that's a good comparison.
Right. Maybe you had to enforce a company policy that you knew was going to bankrupt a vulnerable client. You followed the strict rules of your job. You did what you were told because you have a family to feed and a mortgage to pay.
You're just a cog in the machine.
Exactly. But you feel this creeping, sickening guilt because your actions caused real devastation. You sit there wondering, if I am forced into a system like this, how much of the cosmic blame do I actually carry?
And Donner is feeling that, but magnified by millions.
Yes, he is holding up his blood-stained hands and asking, did I do this, or did the machine I am trapped inside do this?
The tension Donner brings to NaturAutor is the fundamental human desire for an immediate tit-for-tat cosmic retribution system.
Right. We want things to be fair, even if fair means we get punished.
It is an attempt to impose human concepts of crime, punishment, and legal culpability onto a universe that operates on completely different physics.
And the relief in the transcript is palpable when NaturAutor completely dismantles this ancient myth.
He doesn't even engage with the premise.
No, he doesn't offer a philosophical counter-argument. He completely shifts the paradigm. He moves the conversation away from the paralyzing fear of punishment and grounds it in the physics of energy.
NaturAutor's approach is brilliantly systematic here. He recognizes the sheer panic radiating from Donner.
He has to calm him down first.
Right, so he lays down a foundational premise that is required to understand the rest of the text. We must look at cause, effect, and energy completely, without the element of fear.
There's a vividly specific quote here that really struck me.
Which one?
NaturAutor tells Donner that the universe is not a vengeful judge sitting there with a whip, waiting to punish you for being forced into a brutal human system.
That imagery is fantastic.
It is so powerful because it perfectly captures the medieval punitive deity that so many of us still subconsciously carry around. You know, the guy with the whip, sitting on a cloud, keeping a meticulous tally of all our mistakes, just waiting for the moment to strike us down.
We constantly anthropomorphize the cosmos, don't we?
We really do.
We project our own human frailties onto it. We assume the universe has a human-like temper, a human-like vindictiveness, and a deeply human desire to see people suffer for their transgressions.
Right, like the universe has an ego.
Exactly. But NaturAutor is stripping away millennia of cultural conditioning. He is asserting that the universe does not have an ego to offend.
So, if the universe isn't a judge with a whip, what is governing this whole system? NaturAutor introduces the core mechanic at play here, the law of resonance.
This is the massive turning point in the text.
Yeah, this is the moment the text shifts from traditional morality into metaphysical physics.
Because the law of resonance functions purely on vibration and environment. NaturAutor uses this law to explain why soldiers suffer so terribly.
Right, because they do suffer.
They do, but the suffering isn't a cosmic curse or a punishment. Think about the energetic composition of a battlefield.
It's horrific.
When conflict and killing occur, the surrounding energetic field becomes saturated with extreme death anxiety, blinding rage, profound physical pain, and absolute destruction.
It is essentially the most dense, toxic, emotional.
Environment imaginable. Yeah, exactly.
Right. So submerging a human consciousness into that dense, traumatic energy, it places their personal energy field under constant, brutal siege.
It corrodes them at a structural level.
Okay, I want to pause and challenge this concept for a second.
Go for it.
Because if I am Donner and I hear this explanation, I might think, okay, the universe isn't a guy with a whip punishing me, but my energy field is still getting corroded. I am still suffering massive psychological trauma, and I might still break down or die early from the stress.
You're still paying a price.
Exactly. Isn't the outcome exactly the same? How does the universe differentiate between a victim of circumstance, like me, and someone who actually wants to be there if we are both just getting corroded by the environment?
That distinction is the linchpin of the entire philosophy.
Yeah.
Let's use an analogy to clarify how the law of resonance operates neutrally.
Okay, let's hear it.
Imagine stepping into a highly radioactive zone. The radiation does not have a vendetta against you.
Right.
It doesn't hate you. It doesn't judge your moral character before it begins to mutate your cells. It affects you simply because that is the physical nature of radiation intersecting with biology.
Just a physical reality.
Exactly. The suffering, the mental breakdown, or the physical toll a soldier experiences are the natural, unavoidable consequences of existing in a highly toxic environment for a prolonged period. It is an exposure issue, not a penalty.
Wow, that reframing changes everything about how a person processes trauma. It completely removes the malice from the suffering.
It takes the blame out of it.
Yeah. If you walk through deep mud, you get muddy. The mud isn't punishing you for walking. It replaces the paralyzing fear of a judgmental deity with an objective understanding of energetic hygiene.
And the psychological impact of knowing the difference is monumental. I mean, if you believe you are being punished by a vengeful God, you internalize profound guilt and shame.
You feel like you deserve it.
Right. Your soul contracts, and you become trapped in a loop of self-condemnation. But if you understand that you are suffering the inevitable effects of an extreme environmental exposure, you can shift your focus toward healing.
You can work on cleansing and recalibrating that energy entirely free from the burden of eternal damnation. Which leads directly into the next massive question. If the battlefield is this highly radioactive, energetic zone, how does anyone survive it spiritually?
Well, NaturAutor reveals what acts as the ultimate shield against absolute cosmic ruin in this environment.
Yeah, he tells Donner that the ultimate protection is the energy of the human heart.
Here, NaturAutor introduces an incredible layer of nuance to the law of resonance. Resonance isn't merely about the external environment bombarding you. It is heavily dictated by your internal frequency.
Right.
He explains to Donner that the universe reads the energy of the heart, not just the external mechanical action of the hands.
This completely flips traditional action-based morality on its head. I mean, in our earthly legal systems, the action is everything.
Of course. You do the crime, you do the time.
Right. You fired the missile caused destruction, therefore you were guilty. The court doesn't care about your cosmic frequency.
No, they certainly don't.
But NaturAutor is saying the universe's metric is entirely different. It bypasses the physical action and looks directly at the intention behind the trigger.
He specifically points out that Donner did not act out of sadistic joy.
That's a huge point.
It is. There was no personal bloodlust or desire to inflict pain. Donner's actions were governed by a massive pre-existing system of collective unrest. NaturAutor contextualizes Donner's role perfectly. He's a commander born into an escalating dynamic of attack and defense.
He's just caught in the gears.
Tragically, yes. He is a cog in a very large predetermined earthly game.
A cog in a tragic earthly game. That phrase acknowledges the agonizing lack of agency so many people feel in these systems.
It really validates his feelings of helplessness.
And NaturAutor also addresses that terrible fear Donner had about the fallen enemies. Remember, Donner was terrified he had stopped their spiritual learning and damned them.
That was keeping him up at night.
Oh, absolutely. But NaturAutor states definitively that their learning is not stopped. The souls of the people who lost their bodies in the war simply return to the astral worlds, returning to pure energy.
That is a vital reassurance regarding the continuity of consciousness. He is asserting that the essence of a soul cannot be destroyed by earthly weapons.
Which makes sense. You can't shoot a soul.
Exactly. A missile can obliterate the physical vessel, the temporary classroom, so to speak. But the student, the soul itself, simply shifts to another plane of learning.
The relief that must have brought Donner is staggering. It demonstrates that the universe is capable of immense granular nuance.
It's not a blunt instrument.
Right. It can look at a horrifying event, the firing of a weapon that causes mass casualties, and it can completely separate the objective horror of the external action from the tragic, subjective necessity felt by the person forced to push the button.
It's separating the what from the why.
Exactly. The cosmos isn't tallying a body count, it is measuring the energetic frequency of the mind and heart behind the orders.
You brought up the idea of a cog in a system earlier, which ties into the concept of collective unrest. When a society or a globe goes to war, the individual is swept up in a macro-karmic event.
It's like a natural disaster, almost.
Very much like that. It is a massive weather system of dense energy. The universe, according to this transcript, evaluates the individual based on how they navigated that terrible storm, not on the mere fact that they got wet.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Donner held on to his empathy, his reluctance, and his humanity, even while participating in the brutal machinery of war. That internal empathetic frequency is the data the universe is essentially reading.
It is a massive paradigm shift. But, naturally, Donner still wants to know the logistics. He's listening to this and thinking, okay, my heart wasn't in it, I didn't want to do it, and my intention was pure survival.
Right.
But I still did it. Blood was still spilled. What actually happens to me when I die?
He wants the bottom line.
Yeah. If there is no vengeful judge with a whip and no traditional fiery hell, what does the afterlife actually look like for a reluctant warrior carrying all this trauma?
NaturAutor does not sugarcoat the transition process, but he completely removes the element of eternal damnation. He states with absolute clarity there is no hell waiting for Donner.
That's a huge relief.
It is. Instead, at the moment of transition, when Donner sheds his physical shell, he will undergo a profound life review.
Okay, a life review.
But the defining characteristic of this review is that it is absolutely unconditionally loving.
It's not a free pass, though, right? This is the mechanism that really fascinated me. NaturAutor explains that Donner will feel the energetic impact of his orders.
Oh, absolutely. He doesn't get to just skip that part.
Right. He will actually feel the pain that he caused those enemy soldiers. He will experience their terror and their suffering firsthand.
Which sounds terrifying.
It does. But, and this is the massive caveat that changes everything, he will experience it through the lens of absolute clarity and universal compassion.
It represents the ultimate cosmic duality. The life review is agonizing because the illusion of separation drops entirely.
You feel it all.
You are suddenly intimately connected to the pain you caused others. You feel it as if it were your own. But it is simultaneously deeply healing because it is framed by this overarching universal compassion.
It's a completely different context.
Exactly. You aren't feeling the pain as a punishment being inflicted upon you by a warden. You are feeling it as a mechanism of supreme empathetic understanding.
I was really trying to wrap my head around how something so agonizingly painful could also be loving.
It's a tough concept.
It is. Think about it like sitting down and reading a brutally honest, no-holds-barred performance review of your entire life. It highlights every mistake you ever made, every time you hurt someone, every flaw in your character.
Ouch.
Right.
Yeah.
Reading it hurts deeply. It makes you cry. But the person who wrote the review and the person sitting next to you holding your hand while you read it loves you unconditionally.
I want you to grow.
Exactly. They see your absolute highest potential. It hurts to read, but it fundamentally elevates you. It doesn't crush your spirit. It expands your awareness.
That is a phenomenal way to conceptualize it. The universe is providing the ultimate context for your actions. And, NaturAutor addresses that ancient myth of balance again in this moment.
Oh, right, the old warrior books.
Yes. The old books dictated that you had to die early to balance the cosmic scales. NaturAutor corrects this, stating that true cosmic balance doesn't require shedding blood or dying prematurely.
So how does it happen?
True balance happens entirely through internal transformation.
The very fact that Donner is agonizing over his actions, the fact that he feels pain for the dead enemies and is asking these desperate cosmic questions, is the proof of that balance.
It proves his soul is awake.
Exactly. It proves his heart is still active and empathetic despite the radioactive zone he is standing in.
Because of that awake heart, NaturAutor assures him he will take no unerasable guilt with him into the next realm. He will only take a deep, profound experience.
Which is such a beautiful way to frame it.
It really is. This raises a fascinating question about how we view earthly suffering in the grand cosmic scheme. We typically view suffering as a failure, a mistake, or a punishment.
Something to be avoided at all costs.
Right. But NaturAutor suggests that souls who endure the extreme suffering of war and process it with an awake, empathetic heart, they often mature exceptionally fast.
It acts as the extreme friction needed to polish the soul.
Yes.
Because these individuals have seen the absolute darkest depths of human destruction, they understand the value of peace, of life, and of harmony much more radically than a soul that has only ever known safety and comfort.
We get the contrast.
Yeah, they essentially graduate from this earthly school at an accelerated pace.
The trauma, when processed correctly, becomes the catalyst for profound spiritual evolution. NaturAutor assures Donner that after this intense, clarifying review, he will return to pure energy, completely cleansed of the heaviness of the battlefield.
So the radioactive mud is washed off, and the core essence remains intact.
Exactly. The mud doesn't stain the soul permanently.
Okay, so we have the reluctant soldier, the person who hates what they are doing but is trapped in the system. They are met with this tough but ultimate compassion. But then Donner asks the question that I think anyone would ask. He dramatically shifts the tone of the conversation.
Oh, this is where it gets really dark.
It does. He says to NaturAutor, okay, that covers me, but what about the guys who enjoy it?
The ones who aren't reluctant at all.
Right. Donner brings up his own comrades. He says he has men under his command who have acted sadistically. They have committed atrocities not out of forced duty or survival, but out of genuine cruelty. What happens to them?
This is the pivot where NaturAutor introduces what he calls the dark reality. And the physics of the situation change completely.
We're dealing with a whole different frequency now.
We move from analyzing the reluctant participant to analyzing the conscious perpetrator.
Yeah.
We're talking about individuals who do not act out of forced duty, or not merely defending themselves.
Right.
They are acting with conscious malice, with premeditated cruelty, and with sadism.
NaturAutor explains that for these individuals, the starting energetic position changes fundamentally. The law of resonance, which we establish operates neutrally, suddenly strikes back with absolute full force.
That's like a boomerang.
Yeah. He clarifies again that the universe still isn't a guy with a whip. There is still no traditional fiery hell created by a vengeful god to punish them.
Right. The physics haven't changed.
No, but the energetic consequence they face is massive and terrifying.
The difference lies entirely in the shift in intention. We established that the universe reads the heart. Donner absorbed dark energy defensively, against his will.
He was a victim of environmental exposure.
Yes. The sadistic soldiers, however, are generating and cultivating that dark energy voluntarily. They are choosing to be the source of the radiation.
They're acting as localized generators for the most destructive, dense energy possible.
Exactly. By choosing to generate that energy, they create a massive structural imbalance in their own consciousness. They're willingly packing their own energy fields full of this dense, heavy, destructive ballast.
Okay, but if there is no traditional hell for them either, how does the universe handle this massive voluntary imbalance without acting like a vengeful judge?
That's a fair question.
Because my human instinct, and I think most people's instinct, is to want them punished. Human justice demands they pay a severe price.
They do pay,
Yeah.
but they pay through the mechanics of energetic physics, not a punitive courtroom. The universe essentially allows them to become the architects of their own energetic prisons.
Wow, that's heavy.
It is entirely a self-inflicted spiritual wound. The universe simply reflects their own chosen frequency back at them.
Let's get into the specifics of what this self-inflicted wound actually looks like after death, because NaturAutor describes the mechanics of this cosmic regression in terrifyingly precise detail.
The specifics are chilling.
When a sadistic soldier crosses over, how does their life review differ from Donner's?
For the sadistic soul, there is no escape from the frequency they generated. NaturAutor states that in the moment of the Great Review, they will feel every single pain, every deathly fear, and every cruelty they consciously inflicted on others.
Unfiltered.
Completely unfiltered. But unlike Donner, who experiences it through a lens of universal compassion and contextual understanding, the sadistic soul feels it on their own energetic body, completely unbuffered and in absolute brutal clarity.
To bring back the performance review analogy, Donner reads his brutal review with a loving mentor holding his hand, providing context.
Right.
The sadist is locked in an empty room, forced to read a review written in the blood of their victims, with absolutely no one to guide them or offer compassion because they generated zero compassion in life.
That is exactly it.
They are forced to consume the exact meal they cooked for others. Every ounce of terror they cause, they have to process through their own consciousness.
And NaturAutor emphasizes repeatedly, this is not a punishment handed down from an external authority. It is the direct, unavoidable mathematical consequence of their own vibration.
It's just the equation balancing itself.
Exactly. If you build your energetic structure entirely out of cruelty and malice, your resulting consciousness is going to be incredibly dense and painful.
And the consequence of holding all that density is what NaturAutor refers to as a regression of consciousness. Because they have packed their souls with so much brutality, their consciousness falls back massively.
It's a huge step backward.
Yeah, and there is a specific phrase in the transcript that is just chilling. He says that for these individuals, the human vessel of knowledge is blocked for them in the next life.
The human vessel of knowledge is blocked. Let's unpack the physics of that statement because it's huge.
Yeah, please do.
It implies that being born into a human body, equipped with our complex cognitive capacities, our potential for higher reasoning, our ability to feel empathy and contemplate the cosmos, that is not a given.
Right, it's not right.
It is a privilege. It is a highly advanced state of energetic machinery.
It requires a certain voltage of consciousness to operate, and the sadists lose the keys to that machinery.
They do.
Because they missed the most basic, fundamental lessons of existence, which are empathy and the sanctity of life, their energy becomes too dense. They are literally no longer an energetic match for that advanced vessel.
If you use the highly advanced human vessel merely to inflict sadistic pain, you demonstrate that your consciousness cannot handle the frequency required to operate it.
It makes total sense.
So in future incarnations, that access is restricted. NaturAutor states that these dense energies must pass through very deep, painful, and severely restrictive stages just to break down this extreme energetic ballast.
This means they might not even incarnate with access to higher cognitive or spiritual capacities. They might be born into profoundly restrictive, agonizingly limited circumstances.
It sounds like hell, but again, it's not.
Right. And again, this isn't a punishment, it's physics. Their energy is so dense and heavy, it can only resonate with the most dense, restrictive earthly experiences.
They have to burn it off.
Exactly. They have to literally burn off this heavy karma from the absolute bottom, working their way up over what could be millennia.
They block their own ascension for a very long time. They hit a cosmic reset button, but they reset to a much, much lower, more difficult frequency.
They start over on hard mode.
Very hard mode.
Yeah.
They have to begin the hard path of purification all over again.
When I look at this entire framework, I see the ultimate cosmic irony. You have these sadistic soldiers who, in this life, are using war as an excuse to exert absolute cruel power over other human beings.
Right. They want to be untouchable.
They want to play God on the battlefield. They revel in dominance. But by choosing that path, by trying to wield that absolute power and crush others, they mathematically guarantee themselves absolute powerlessness in their next state of existence.
It is the perfect, terrifying symmetry of the law of resonance. You reap exactly the frequency you sow.
It's beautiful in a dark way.
It is not an emotional judgment. It is an impartial, mathematical balancing of the cosmic scales. The universe doesn't hate the sadist. The universe simply demands that the energy balance out.
You can't cheat the system.
No, you can't. If you create a massive deficit of empathy, you must travel through restrictive environments that force you to slowly, painfully earn that empathy back.
It is a brilliantly logical system when you step back and look at it without the fear of a guy with a whip.
It really is.
And the transcript ends on such a poignant note. Donner, having heard all this, having had the entire mechanics of the universe explained to him, simply thanks NaturAutor.
He's finally found some peace.
Yeah. He says he is going to share this profound clarity with his men. He wants to give them this shield of understanding to protect their minds in the radioactive zone.
And NaturAutor responds with grace. He says it is an honor, and that if this brings even a piece of peace, clarity, or comfort, the conversation served its deep purpose.
It's a wonderful ending.
He wishes them the protection of pure light in the middle of the storm and hopes they can one day live in peace. It's a very touching close to an incredibly heavy dialogue.
It really is.
Yeah.
And, well, it brings us to the end of our journey today. Let's summarize the incredible ground we've covered in this deep dive.
We covered a lot.
We started with Soldier Donner, trapped in a nightmare, terrified by ancient myths that told him his forced actions had eternally cursed him and thwarted the cosmic progress of his enemies. And we watch as Mr. NaturAutor completely dismantled that fear.
We moved from a universe governed by a vengeful, punitive judge to a universe governed by the elegant, impartial physics of the law of resonance. We learned that the universe doesn't just look at the blood on your hands, it reads the frequency of your heart.
We saw how the reluctant participant, the person acting out of forced duty with an awake, empathetic heart, is met with absolute, unconditional, universal compassion during their life review.
Right.
Their suffering becomes the friction that polishes their soul, leading to rapid spiritual maturity and a return to pure energy.
And then we explored the dark reality of the sadistic participant. We saw how conscious malice and cruelty voluntarily charge the energy field with heavy, destructive ballast.
This self-inflicted wound.
Exactly. The law of resonance ensures that these individuals become the architects of their own restrictive prisons, forcing their consciousness to regress and blocking their access to the human vessel of knowledge until they painstakingly burn off that dense energy from the bottom up.
It's an incredibly empowering, albeit sobering, perspective. And it brings me back to you listening right now.
Oh, this is the most important part.
We said at the beginning that this applies to everyday life, and it does. The universe reads the heart, not just the hands. Whether you are navigating a literal war zone, a toxic corporate restructuring, or just the daily messy conflicts of modern life, your intentions are the architects of your own spiritual resonance.
We are constantly building our own energetic environments with every choice, and more importantly, every intention we hold.
Which leads me to a final thought I want to leave you with, something to mull over as you go about your day. Throughout this deep dive, we've talked about the absolute extremes of human behavior, the profoundly traumatized soldier, and the consciously malicious perpetrator.
The extreme ends of the spectrum.
Right. But consider the vast gray middle ground of our daily lives. If our ultimate consciousness and our future states of existence are shaped by our purest intentions and the level of empathy we manage to hold during extreme conflict, how do the micro-intentions behind our everyday mundane disputes ripple out?
That's a profound question.
Think about your office politics. Think about that argument you had with a loved one where you didn't just want to resolve the issue, you actively wanted to win and make them feel small.
We've all been there.
Think about the casual, reflexive outrage we participate in on social media. What is the frequency of your heart in those moments? Are you unknowingly, day by day, generating dense energy and creating your own restrictive energetic stages? Or are you using those daily frictions with a conscious, awake heart, paving the way for your own spiritual ascension?
The battlefield is everywhere, really.
Yeah.
The law of resonance doesn't pause for the mundane.
It really doesn't. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of the cosmic compass. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.